What's up, guys? It's your boys Awoki back out with another Chris Watts video, of course. And today, another big thing that people definitely do get upset, disturbed, and want to know why is the oil field grave. Why did Chris Watts choose this place? Why was it this and not woods or a stream or whatever have you? It's a big question that people want to know. And this channel, Dark Truths, True Crime Stories, why Chris Watts chose the chilling location. We're going to look into this together, so grab a chair, get comfortable. Also, before we go any further, make sure you guys are subscribed by hitting that white bar icon down at the bottom right. It's free, by the way. And then hit the notification bell icon next to it, so when I do post videos, you guys will get that little ring notification that Wookie myself has posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I thank you also very much for the love and support that you guys show on my channel every single day. I am so blessed to have every single one of you. We're almost to 71K. We're trying to get to 100K. So tell your friends, tell your family, or anybody you guys know. And again, like I said, it's free to subscribe. Don't forget to go over to Dark Truth True Crime Stories. Go give them some love. They are almost to 1,000 subscribers. Let's help them out, get them over that threshold, and help them be a 1,000 YouTube channel. But without further ado, let's get into the video.
Location. Imagine driving into the middle of nowhere, your family in the car, knowing what you're about to do. How does a man choose a place to hide such a horrific crime? Welcome to Dark Truths, True Crime Stories, where we uncover the chilling details behind the cases that haunt us. In 2018, Chris Watts took his wife and daughters to a remote oil field and turned it into their grave.
I've always thought this. Why this place? Does it have some significance? Was it planned? Was it like we've always... Did NK tell him that this would be the perfect spot kind of thing, like she said about his apartments or whatever have you? She was the safety coordinator, apparently, which things that go bad, accidents and spills, like I've always thought that the spill part of the field was a, not code word, but a place that they were going to use this place as the disposal site. But again, I would like to watch what this person says, that this location was chosen and why.
Why there? What was going through his mind? Hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into the darkness of this unthinkable choice. The setting. Anadarko oil field overview. Picture a vast, empty stretch of land in Weld County, Colorado, a place where the horizon seems to go on forever. This is the Anadarko oil site, thousands of acres of dusty, industrial terrain dotted with oil tanks and pipelines. It's not a place you stumble across. It's remote, isolated, the kind of spot where you could scream and no one would hear you. For Chris Watts, this wasn't just a random location.
And Chris was scared about possibly blowing this place up and hurting somebody. There is nothing around this place. It is secluded. No one can hear you out there.
He'd worked for Anadarko Petroleum since 2017, driving these dirt roads, checking these tanks day in and day out. He knew every corner, every access point. The site, known as Survey 319, was about 40 miles from his home in Frederick, a world away.
He made a joke about this in the interview about watching Criminal Minds. If you've watched Criminal Minds, it's like CSI, but better.
Suburban life. It was quiet. Perfect for someone who didn't want to be seen. The landscape itself feels eerie, flat, open, with nothing but the hum of machinery and the occasional gust of wind. It's a place built for work, not for secrets. But for Chris, it became something else entirely. Why would someone choose such a cold, industrial place for something so personal, so horrific? Let's dig into that.
His daily routine.
His daily routine. Chris Watts wasn't just familiar with the Anadarko site, he lived it. As a field operator for Anadarko, his job was to monitor oil wells, check tank levels, and maintain equipment. He'd drive out to sites like Survey 319 almost daily, sometimes alone, sometimes with co-workers. He had keys to lock gates, access codes, and a deep understanding of the site's layout. His co-workers described him as reliable, quiet, the guy who knew the job inside out. He'd spend hours in this desolate place, far from the chaos of home life with Shanann and their girls, Bella and Celeste. For Chris, the oil field was a routine, a constant. He could navigate.
So maybe he knew the ins and outs, where people would be at, where people would not be at. Like, he knew that people wouldn't go in this hatch or see the weight or be able to see anybody inside the oil tanks. Like, maybe he's practiced doing this with, because they usually say that murderers start with something small when it comes to animals and so forth like that. But again, this man is not like Michael Myers going on a killing spree. He murdered his family, which is, again, grotesque and disturbing in itself, but he's not like a Michael Myers where he started murdering pets.
With his eyes closed. That familiarity wasn't just convenience, it was power. He knew where to park, where the cameras didn't reach, where no one would show up unexpectedly. When he drove out there on August 13th, 2018, it wasn't a spur-of-the-moment choice. It was calculated, rooted in his everyday life. Can you imagine turning a place you know so well into the setting for something so awful?
A crime of convenience.
A crime of convenience. Let's talk about why the oil field made sense for Chris. It was convenient in the worst way possible. No security cameras staring down. No nosy neighbors. No random passersby. Just miles of empty land and oil tanks that stood like silent sentinels. Chris didn't need to scout a new location or take risks somewhere unfamiliar. He already had the keys literally and figuratively. Court documents show he drove his company truck to Survey 319 that morning, a vehicle equipped with GPS but no live.
But another thing I would like to look at is his GPS for the week, if not the month prior. Like, how many times did he go out to Survey 319? How many times did he go out to other surveys and oil sites? Was he there? Like, it's just something I would like to cross the T's and dot the I's kind of thing. Like, use it as I was going to say crutch, but it's not a crutch, but it's use it as a guide to see why he was going to this place so much or that place so much. Was this place chosen the day of the murders or a week out, a month out? Doesn't matter. Yes and no, because obviously we want to know how long this man was thinking about it, because he also said this was a crime of passion, which we don't think that. I don't think it. I don't know about you, but this was not a crime of passion. This was a crime of hatred. He was tired of Shanann because he thought that he was belittled and he wasn't himself and he couldn't be the person he was supposed to be and so forth. It was a crime of hatred. He had the hate because of another woman, I think, helped it along. It could have been 5-10 years down the road where they might have split up by then, but NK pushed it to Mach 10. She made that man do this instead of living his life out like he should have.
Monitoring. He knew the site was off the radar, a place where he could work undisturbed for hours. The isolation was his ally. He could take his time, cover his tracks, and leave without anyone batting an eye. It's chilling to think about, isn't it? How someone could use their everyday routine as a blueprint for murder. What does it say about a person who sees opportunity in a place like that?
The psychological
landscape. But it wasn't just about logistics. The oil field meant something deeper to Chris. Psychologists who studied the case say it was his escape, a place where he wasn't a husband or a dad, just a worker in control. At home, things were messy. Shanann was pregnant with their third child, Nico. They were in debt, and Chris was hiding an affair with Nickel Kessinger.
What family isn't in debt? Like, people are in debt upon their debt upon their debt. Like, and they just make it seem like, oh, Chris didn't have any money because of Shanann. There's millions of people that were even worse than they were.
The oil field was different. Out there, he called the shots.
And they didn't murder their families.
No arguments, no responsibilities, just him and the job. Choosing this place to bury his family wasn't random, it was symbolic. It's like he was trying to in a place where that life didn't exist. Some experts say it reflects his fractured state of mind, a need to compartmentalize. By taking Shanann, Bella, and Celeste to the oil field, he was drawing a line between his two worlds. But can a place really help you escape who you are? Or did it just make the crime feel more real to him?
Hiding in plain sight.
Hiding in plain sight.
Or hiding, not hidden.
Here's where it gets even creepier. After committing the murders, Chris didn't just leave the site.
Yeah, he continued to work. And then when the people came, his coworkers, he continued to still work.
And never looked back. He returned to survey 319 multiple times in the days that followed, working alongside coworkers like nothing had happened. He'd check equipment, chat about the job, all while knowing what he'd hidden there. Investigators later noted how calm he seemed, blending into his routine. One coworker told police Chris was his usual self. Maybe a bit quieter, but not enough to raise alarms. It's like he thought he could hide the crime by acting normal, as if the oil field could swallow his secret forever. That boldness or arrogance makes you wonder. How do you go back to a place where you did something so horrific and act like it's just another day? Was he really that confident? Or was he just pretending, even to himself?
The oil tanks,
a grisly choice. Now, let's talk about the most disturbing part, the oil tanks. Chris placed Bella and Celeste's bodies in 2 separate crude oil tanks at Survey 319. These tanks were massive, filled with thick toxic oil, and their access hatches were only 8 inches wide. Think about that, 8 inches. The effort it took to force their small bodies through those tiny openings is almost too horrific to comprehend. Investigators believe he chose the tanks to destroy evidence. Crude oil is corrosive, and he likely thought it would break down bodies, making them harder to find or identify. Bella was 4. Celeste was 3 2 little girls who trusted their dad, hidden away in a place meant for industry, not innocence. That choice wasn't just practical. It was brutal, dehumanizing. Why go to such lengths to hide them like that? What kind of mindset lets you turn a place of work into a tomb for your own children? Shanann's burial site. Shanann's body was treated differently. Chris buried her in a shallow grave near the oil tanks, just a few feet deep in the rocky soil. She was 15 weeks pregnant with Nico, and he left her there, exposed to the elements, while the girls were concealed in the tanks. That contrast is telling. Some psychologists suggest it shows a deeper resentment toward Shanann. By burying her in the ground, he was physically distancing her from the girls, maybe even from himself. Others say it was practical. He couldn't fit her body in the tanks, or he didn't have time. Either way, it's a chilling glimpse into his mind. The shallow grave was sloppy, rushed. Dirt was disturbed. Easy spot for investigators. Did he think no one would look? Or was he so detached that he didn't care? Can you imagine the cold...
Well, then the idiot left the sheet out there with the garbage bags and a rake head out there. He wasn't very smart.
...coldness it takes to leave your wife and unborn child like that?
The terrain as a barrier.
The terrain as a barrier. Weld County's landscape played a big role in Chris's plan. The oil field is surrounded by open plains, dirt roads, and endless stretches of nothing. It's the kind of place where you feel alone, cut off...
So he also could have seen if anybody was coming.
...from the world. For Chris, that isolation was both physical and psychological. The 40-mile drive from Frederick gave him time to think, to separate himself from the crime, out there with no houses or people in sight.
Just think if, like, he got pulled over and a cop came, looked in his window, saw his 2 girls and something on the floor. Just think how that would have panned out.
He could pretend it wasn't real. The terrain was a buffer, a way to distance himself from the life he was destroying. But it wasn't foolproof. The open landscape made disturbance like a fresh grave stood out. It's like the land itself betrayed him. How does a place shape a crime like this? Did the emptiness make it easier for him to act, or harder to hide? His return to normal. After disposing of the bodies, Chris drove back to Frederick and slipped into his routine. He texted co-workers about work, answered calls, even gave TV interviews, pleading for his family's return. It's chilling hours after the murders. He was playing the worried husband, standing on his porch for cameras. He acted like nothing had changed, like the oil field held no secrets. Neighbors said he seemed calm, maybe a bit nervous, but
he didn't think anybody was going to go out there, and I think he probably forgot too about the GPS.
Not enough to suspect.
Or they thought the GPS would have been, or with him going out to Survey 319 for work, they never would have suspected him to, or how do I want to say this? I think he thought that the police were going to say, oh, he drove out to Survey 319. We're not going to look out there. That's where he works. So that's why they were going to be like, that's where he probably chose that spot too, is because, oh, it's just going to look like I went to work. It's not like I didn't go out there randomly kind of thing.
Murder. His ability to switch gears so fast stunned investigators later. How do you go from committing such a crime to chatting about your day?
Right.
Was he acting? Or had he already convinced himself it was over? What kind of person can live with that kind of secret?
The discovery.
Chris thought he covered his tracks, but he underestimated technology. His Anadarko truck had GPS, logging his trip to Server 319 on August 13th. His cell phone pinged nearby towers, placing him at the site. When Shanann's friend raised the alarm and police got involved, that digital trail led them straight to the oil field. On August 15th, investigators searched Server 319. Cadaver dogs picked up scents near the tanks and a patch of disturbed soil. By the next day, they found Shanann's body in the shallow grave and confirmed the girls were in the tanks. The GPS data was undeniable. Chris couldn't lie his way out. It's almost poetic, isn't it? He chose a place he thought was safe, but the very tools he used every day betrayed him. How does it feel to be caught by your own routine?
The co-workers' reactions.
Chris's co-workers at Anadarko were some of the first to sense something was wrong. They'd worked alongside him for months, trusted him. When police started asking questions, they were shocked. One co-worker told investigators Chris seemed off that week, quieter than usual, but they never imagined this. When the truth came out, the betrayal hit hard. A colleague named Luke Eppel later testified about the horror of learning what Chris had done at a place they all knew so well. It was our workplace, he said, not a graveyard. They felt violated, their trust shattered. Can you imagine working with someone every day, only to find out they use that same place to hide a crime? How do you ever go back to a job after that?
Right. Law enforcement response.
When police arrived at Server 319, the scene was unlike anything they'd faced. The oil field was vast, but the signs were there: disturbed dirt near a tank. Didn't look right. Cadaver dogs confirmed it almost immediately. Investigators knew they...
And why couldn't we see that? I'm just curious. Like, you showed us the house, but why not at Survey 319?
Were standing on a crime scene. The Weld County Sheriff's Office brought in heavy equipment to excavate. Finding Shanann's shallow grave was grim, but the oil tanks were worse. Officers described a moment they realized the girls were inside. Pure horror. The site's isolation, once Chris's ally, now made every clue stand out. Law enforcement worked fast, but the emotional toll was heavy. One detective later said, "You don't forget a scene like that. How do you process standing in a place where such evil happened?"
They had to retire because of how bad it was.
Forensic challenges. Retrieving the bodies was a nightmare. The oil tanks were filled with crude...
I could imagine the person that had to carry out each daughter. I could imagine what they had to go through. Like Chris Watts, or that, who said it? D.A. Rourke. This one I agree with. There were so many lives that were destroyed and changed. These people, they weren't expecting to do this. Yeah, they're here to serve, protect, and retrieve and stuff like that, but this is just on the next level of horrific.
Crude oil, thick and toxic. Investigators had to drain them carefully, wearing protective gear to avoid contamination. The process was slow, gruesome. Each tank had to be opened, the oil siphoned out, before they could reach Bella and Celeste. Forensic teams faced unique challenges. The oil degraded evidence.
And if they would have done something wrong, it could have lit the whole place up and took everybody out that was out there.
It would go unnoticed. It was a gamble, but one he felt safe making. Why choose a place so tied to your life? Was it arrogance or just a twisted sense of security? What does it say when your safe space becomes a crime scene?
Premeditation
indicators.
Work.
Investigators didn't buy that this was a spur-of-the-moment crime.
No.
The oil field choice screamed premeditation. Chris didn't panic and dumped the bodies randomly. He drove 40 miles to a specific site he knew well. He used his work truck, his access keys, and his knowledge of the tank's design. Text messages show he'd been planning his day, arranging to be alone at Survey 319 that morning. He even told Nicole Kessinger he'd be out at the site, like it was just another work day. Every step was calculated.
But where was she at? Because she was not at work. She was not at work.
From the drive to the disposal, that level of planning is chilling.
That's another thing. Why was Nicole Kessinger asking him about a spill when she was even clocked in? Eh?
How long had he been thinking about this? Did he see the oil field as his way out even before that night? The aftermath. When Chris confessed on August 15th, he showed little emotion about the oil field. In his 2019 prison interview, he described the burial almost clinically, where he parked, how he dug, how he maneuvered the bodies. Detectives were stunned by his detachment, like he was talking about a job, not his family. The site itself became infamous. Anadarko shut down operations at Survey 319 temporarily, unable to reconcile the horror with the workplace. Employees struggled to return, haunted by what they'd learned. The oil field was no longer just a job site.
Those ones probably needed counseling, not Nicole.
It was a graveyard. How do you live with yourself after turning a place like that into a crime scene? Can you ever really disconnect from what you've done?
He says he has, but
What the site says about him. Psychologists who study Chris say the oil field choice reveals a lot. Killers often pick places that mean something to them, consciously or not. For Chris, Survey 319 was where he felt in control, away from the pressures of home. It was his domain, a place where he wasn't failing as a husband or father. By choosing it, he was asserting power over his family's fate, something he felt he lacked in his marriage. The oil tanks, especially, show a need to erase, not just hide, the evidence of his actions. It's like he wanted to wipe his family from existence. What does it say about a man who turns his workplace into a grave? Was it about control, or was it about running
Evil.
from who he'd become?
demonic.
Revisiting the crime scene.
You can't. It's gone.
Years later, the Survey 319 site still draws attention. True crime enthusiasts, filmmakers, and journalists have visited, standing in that eerie silence. The landscape hasn't changed much. Flat, dusty, with rusted tanks looming like ghosts. The shallow grave spot is unmarked now, but you can feel the weight of what happened. Documentaries, like the 2020 Netflix film American Murder, used aerial shots to show the site's isolation, its stark emptiness. Visitors describe a chill, a sense that the place holds onto its secrets. It's not just a location. Anymore, it's a symbol of one man's darkness. Can a place carry the memory of a crime like that? What's it like to stand where such horror unfolded?
A place
A place of work turned into a graveyard. The Anadarko oil field was supposed to be Chris Watts' perfect hiding place, a remote corner of Colorado where he could erase his family and start over. But instead of covering his tracks, it exposed him, becoming the centerpiece of a national nightmare. Survey 319 isn't just an oil site anymore. It's a graveyard, a haunting reminder of deceit, destruction, and the darkness one man carried inside him. Thanks for joining us on this chilling journey into the Chris Watts case here on Dark Truths, True Crime Stories. If this story sent shivers down your spine, hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think drove Chris to choose this place? Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for more true crime mysteries that dig deep.
So this guy that has this YouTube channel, The Dark Truth, definitely hit it home run out of the park, because this man chose it for a reason. Like I said, the reason is because he thought the GPS was going to show that he went to work and that's all he went. He never went anywhere else. So where did the girls go? Where did Shanann go? Oh no. Like he thought that was going to be legit a cover up. That's why he didn't go to the canyons or the forests or whatever have you, because if he went out there, they would have seen that he went there with his GPS and was like, why did he go out there? The big one that really stuck with me is a place of work becomes a graveyard, becomes not iconic, but becomes disturbingly a location that people can't go to anymore, as in the coworkers and so forth. So he's destroying people's lives and their workhood and so forth, which if there was a murder at a grocery store or something and people that worked there and the coworker was the one that did it, that place is probably not going to do so well because people know that somebody was there. It's just people. Well, you got some people that love to go to crime scenes, which I don't know why. That one is kind of creepy. But people that will stay away from crime scenes purposely because of what happened, and that would definitely not help in certain circumstances when it becomes like a business or what have you. Anadarko was already under the hot waters. That's why they sold the company. But let me know your thoughts, of course, down in the comments. Don't forget to go over to Dark Truths, True Crime Stories. Go give them some love. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. They are so close to 1K. And then we will see you guys in the next video. So please take care, be safe, As always, keep nerding on, and we will see you guys in the next video.